Hello, everyone. We are back. Another episode in the Design Lounge. This is going to be a fun episode in the Shelter series. I am blessed with a friend, a colleague, someone I've known for a while. You guys probably already know who she is anyway, but for those that don't know, Stephanie Plymale, tell them who you are.
Thanks for having me on your show, Brandon. It's a pleasure. I'm Stephanie Thornton Plymale. I'm the CEO of Heritage School of Interior Design. I'm an author. I'm a mother. My real passion is design. And if you follow me on Instagram, that's all I do all day long.
Literally. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to, because I don't know how you do it, but that's definitely one of the questions. But this is the Shelter series. And
Yeah.
I'm privy to a little bit of information. I know a little bit about you. Again, like I said, we're friends. I interviewed you before years ago. But I want to start out with, what does shelter mean to you, and why is it so important?
Shelter really means sanctuary to me. And having come from you know my background, Brandon, having come from foster care and homelessness, having a home, having, more than just shelter, a sanctuary, a safe place, a beautiful home. I mean, this is all so important to me, having lived most of my life without that, without a safe home, without a beautiful home. And so home is everything to me. I've built my whole life and career is around building home.
Yeah. And actually, and again, I do know your story. And I was going to ask, I mean, I was essentially, the backdrop of your book, American Daughter, it tells that story of, like you said, being a foster child and the homelessness leading to up to that. Did you think you were destined for this path? It seems like your childhood made you destined to go down this path.
I absolutely think so, Brandon. When I was probably 4 years old, I started creating home out of nothing. We were living in the back of my mom's car, and I started making, just piecing together makeshift home from shells that were out there. I would just be creating something for the home or something for our space to make it beautiful, even if it was in a car or if we were in a motel. So it started at about the age of 4 for me. So I was destined, but I never in a million years would have thought I'd be where I'm at ever.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I know, me knowing you, you're just getting started. So were you always, you mentioned three or four, making those homes in the back of the vehicle and
Yeah.
creating that safe space, creating that sanctuary. Was it more about the home, or was it about design? Have you always been like drawn to design as well?
That is such a great question. I think I had this desire. So, one of the most pivotal moments for me was when we were living in the back of my mother's car. I stumbled on a remodeled bus. And as a child, it illuminated my life. Like, I walked into this renovated bus that was built like a home. And from then on, it like seared in my mind and we were living in the back of a car, but he had created this home out of this bus. And so I just wanted to create that space, that warmth, the feeling that I had there. He had like beautiful textiles. I mean, I still remember the pillows. I'm obsessed with pillows and textiles. And I still remember the pillows from that bus. And I just began creating it. It's funny because my sister was there and saw the bus. It made no impact. She probably would never have remembered it. But it was something that really changed. It just kind of opened my eyes to the difference between where we were living in the back of a car and where he was living in this transformed bus. So I love transformation. I mean, I love transforming people's lives. I love transforming homes and spaces. And it really all just came from where I came from.
Yeah,
It's really who I am. It's
totally.
I wake up every day excited to design something.
To touch something, to change and
Something.
something.
Something's got to get better today.
Absolutely. What compelled you to write the book, right? Because again, that is a very, for those who don't know, American Artist is an amazing book. And I'm not just saying it because you're on here. I've read it. It's an amazing story. But what compelled you to actually write that and be as personal as you are?
I really just felt that I needed to tell this story for so many reasons. For everything that happened to my mother, who was a drug addict, who was mentally ill, who was institutionalized psychiatric wards probably up to 100 times, and what happened to her. And I also needed to tell the story of the reconciliation between my mom and I just needed to tell my story, Brandon, and it was so therapeutic. And I tell so many people who write to me and say, I have this story. I want to tell it. Should I do it? And I tell everybody, absolutely. Even if it doesn't get published, even if you self-publish, or no matter what it is, telling your story, writing your story will transform your life. And it did. I became incredibly empowered. I've connected to people who have these stories, who have been in shame and hiding and not comfortable to tell their story. And it's not only transformed my life in the healing process, but the book has touched thousands and thousands of people who I never thought would have anything in common with me. And I have found that everybody could connect to my story in some way. So you know, it was scary, and being that vulnerable is scary.
Totally,
It wasn't
totally.
easy for me.
No, no. I mean, it's an incredible story of strength and empowering, and like I said, everyone can connect. I could connect to it. You mentioned design. You mentioned design at 3 or 4 years old, and finding that bus, and that really opening up your eyes to what design could be. What made you go down the path of actually creating a school versus just
Yeah.
doing design, right? Because that's two totally different things. Obviously, it still encompasses design, but why the route of opening the school, which now has multiple locations? We'll get into that as well.
Um, I never thought I would be able to have a school, to be honest. School was so hard for me as a foster child. I mean, most foster children do not succeed in school. And one of the things about me is that I had such a hard time in school. I wanted a school that was for everybody, where your creativity and where no matter who you were, you belong here if you want to be in my school. If you're creative, if your passion is design like it has been for me, this is the place for you. So I wanted that kind of school. And never in a million years would I have thought that I would own this school. And I was at a crossroads after being in design for about 18 years. I just knew it was over. I knew working with clients in that capacity was over. It was time for that next iteration of me. So I went back to school and studied all kinds of things, a little bit of a lost soul. And then the school, Heritage School of Interior Design here in Portland, had shut down. And so I bought the school. And that's how it started. I just bought it, had no clue what I was going to do, moved it to a space on Mississippi, and then my passion for helping others to attain their goals was my next step. And so that's how this all happened, out of just a passion for, I want everybody to have this career. Like, it's the best career. I love being an interior designer. I love design. So that's how it's happened. That's really how it happened. I'm nothing special. I was not educated in this, and I still feel like, how did this happen to me? How did I do this? I don't know.
What did you shifting from being a designer? You say you knew that was the end of that career and shifting into a different iteration of you teaching and building the school. Again, now you guys are where? PDX, Denver, Dallas, soon to be Salt Lake City. How many locations do you guys have
We
now?
have LA, Indiana. We have a virtual school. So we're going to have about 8 schools. So right now we're in the process of launching 3 to 4 new schools.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Just a little bit. Did you ever miss it? Did you ever miss the design component? Because again, the
yeah,
shipping to the school, did you ever miss like the hands-on
yeah,
aspect of designing?
yeah, absolutely. Because I am a designer. Still, if you ask me what I do, I would tell you I'm a designer, because I am always designing. Yeah, so that's why I'm just obsessed with my house, and I get to design for companies and collaboratives on Instagram, and that's really what that just kind of scratches that itch for me a little bit. And
Oh,
so I do that all the time, and I sell products for company, I collaborate, and that just gives me enough so that I can do my day job. Like, but running the schools, and I've really moved into a creative director role, as
okay.
the CEO and the visionary of the school. I do all the marketing, I do all the digital marketing. I'm working on my first magazine. I've got another book coming. So my creativity is now in digital, and creating books and magazines, and I love it. Like, I love it. So that really, again, design is design. Now I'm designing just a different modality.
Totally. And I think, like I said, I'm glad you said that. 'Cause I think that goes into my next question, right? Because when I first met, you were dabbling in, social media, digital marketing. Now, I think the last time I looked, you're at what, 198,000 followers in your Instagram account. The school has 31,000. You have these magazines. what was it? What was Instagram that was that issue you were able to scratch it? Like, is that how? What was even the thought process of beginning to design online or design your space online?
So my Instagram account came through the pandemic. I was
Okay,
stuck at home. Here's how it happened. I was stuck at home, and the only store that was open was Target. So I was like, you
okay.
know what? I'm going to go to Target. I'm going to start styling with Target stuff. Remember when Target was the only store open?
Oh yeah,
You were only
yeah.
supposed to buy groceries, but I was sneaking in pillows and throws and candles. And so that's how it started, was during the pandemic. And I actually just, most people were so bored. I was stuck in my house. I was started to create content. I learned how to make videos. I learned Instagram, and I thought, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to learn something huge during the pandemic, and I chose to learn Instagram. And as you know, it is a beast of an app, and there's so much to learn. So I took the time to learn how to do content, how to make videos, how to beat Instagram's algorithms. Like, I made that my goal. Like, how do I do this? And so I then started having several videos that were going viral, and I kind of figured out how to do it and what people were looking for. So it all came out of the pandemic.
Yeah, I know, and it's amazing. I just saw it grow and to take off and just explode. I know people. I can't let you not talk about what are some of those things you learned, right? Because again, there's
Yeah,
people that are designers. You're in the school, you know this, right? I'm
yeah.
sure you incorporate branding and design because it's not just about your design. If people don't know about you, you don't get any clients. So you are the resident expert in social media, Instagram marketing for designers. What do people need to know?
So there's so much to learn about video content. I mean, where do I start, Brandon? Um, Make quality videos, be consistent. One of the things that I really learned about Instagram and what made me go viral is any videos that were moving forward. And it sounds really simplistic, but as I move the camera forward, I felt
Moving
that
it.
my viewers felt that they were going somewhere with me. So I just started moving the
Okay.
camera forward, going through a space in just a certain way. Um, and I only do quality videos. Like, my videos, if I don't love them and feel inspired by them, I will not post anything that I don't personally love. You'll see a lot
Love
of
that.
junk out there that is just people trying to get attention, but I stick with my brand. I stick with who I am. I love vintage all day long. I love florals. I love, um, you know, that's who I am. Everybody knows me as Heritage Style. So I stick with my brand. I do quality videos, and I engage with everybody. So anytime somebody writes me, DMs me, I engage with them. So most of the most of the people who aren't doing well are not engaging with their followers, and basically that tells Instagram that you are um, not really social. Like, it's actually social. It's supposed to be social. And if
Yeah.
you don't engage with people, they won't give you the algorithm. So that's one thing. And I've built a huge community. My followers love me because I engage with them. I invest in them. And I actually really like it. I mean, I have a love hate with Instagram, like everybody. It's a lot of work. Some days I'm like, just run, Stephanie, just run. Like, close the app out. But I always come back.
No, totally. And again, I want to talk about that because again, you invited people into your home, to your shelter, to your safe space,
Yeah.
and as a designer, and I've talked to many designers on this show. You know, depending on the size of their project, they don't often get to share what's going on, or they don't share what's going on, or
Yeah.
maybe it's hard because this project is so long. Why is it so important as a designer, especially if you're starting out, to share your own home, to share your own space? Because
Yeah.
people now you've developed your brand essentially from your living room,
Yeah, for my living room, kitchen, and bedroom, and that's it. That's all I got in an
literally.
outdoor
Yeah,
space. Um, I I do share my home. I share my life to a certain point. I'm very
totally.
careful about what I share. I do keep a lot of things private. You don't want to overshare. I don't feel, because I don't want to see that. But I really do love my followers, and I appreciate them being there, and I connect with them. And I connect with them and let them know what I'm doing. I ask them questions. And I have used my home as, basically, my home is a canvas for my
Totally.
work.
It is.
And
It
so
is.
that's how I use my home, as a canvas. But I love it because I'm an artist, and so it gives me a way to. I keep things really neutral so that I can always be a canvas, and I just, I use a lot of holiday decor or seasonal decor. You can do simple things. You could put a beautiful vase with some foliage from outside, and that's stunning. So it's just really about being creative and making it a priority if that's what you want to do. There's a lot of money to be made on Instagram. It's a beautiful business for a lot of people. So that's what I teach people. If that's what you want to do, there's a formula.
Totally. And I actually, it made me think about that. I want to know, how do you make it look new every time? Because again, you said your kitchen, your living room, your bedroom, again, it looks brand new every single time. And then secondly, I
That's
want
so
to ask, within that space, because you're doing your home over and over again, has it made you a better creator? Has it made you a better designer to think
yeah.
creatively to how to change it up?
It's such a good question. And I'm also always out there researching like what's happening on Instagram, what's working for people, what videos are working, what templates are working. But I also think about what is it that I want to say right now? What do I want to do today? And so yeah, so I keep it fresh. Like let's do a whole new outdoor space. And if you saw my house, I mean, just to be fair, I have a garage that looks like a store. People
Okay.
think it looks like the back end of a store. I really do. I have shelving, I have pillows, accessories. So I have collected pieces that I
Yeah.
use, and that's why I can change it up. I can change my living room to look like French provincial to a beach house, like in a day. I have everything to do a transformation, and I do. Some days it's like, I don't like this look. Let's redo it. Even just for myself, I do. You'd be surprised how many times I'm redesigning my house for a feel, and nobody even
Yeah.
sees it on Instagram because it's like, I don't care. I'm doing it for me.
Right. I was gonna say, does he feel like he comes to a new home all the time? Like, is it like a new home every single day or every 2, 3 times a week? He's like, oh, okay, I'm
my
living here
poor
now.
My poor husband's like, that chair was there and now it's not. I used to sit there and put my socks on. Like, well, it's not there. Find another one. No, he's just used to it. I
Yeah.
don't know what he would do. My husband doesn't have an aesthetic bone in his body, so he doesn't really notice much.
So I gotta ask, as now, like say, as a guru, as someone that creates shelter within your own space over and over and over again, and so creative, do you think for designers that are watching this, because this really is for like a designer 201
Yeah.
conversation, right? What is it best to stick to one platform? Because is it best to find a niche? Like, what is your suggestion and what's your thoughts on that? Because again, you've now honed in on Instagram and you're an expert, you're a guru at it.
Yeah.
Is that really what you think is a formula for success for other people that are starting out? Find that one platform or find that niche that works for you.
For me, it is. I don't want to be
Okay.
running after all these different apps. There's a lot of people who use TikTok, and Threads is a new one. And Lemon 8 was great when it came out. But for me, I'm putting all my eggs in the Instagram basket because I actually love Instagram and I really understand the tools. And I just want to focus in on, and I do believe for designers that Instagram is still our app. It's still home for us. It's where you're going to be getting, and so is TikTok for a lot of people. So this is just what I use, and I really love it. And I just don't have the time or the bandwidth to go any further than this.
When did you know? When did you know you hit something? Like, was it that first viral video? Was it the second
Yeah.
and third one? When did you know they're like, okay, I'm onto something? I have a theme. I know now I need to push my video in and edit in a certain way. Like, when did you find your space within the platform?
Well, one of the first things that happened is every single time I used this certain music and it was nothing special, my videos would go to 1 million views. And I was like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, and it happened like 5 times in a row. And that's where you really saw me grow. So I grew probably 100,000 followers just from using that song.
Okay.
You just don't know. But now that song's gone. Like no one's using it and Instagram doesn't care. So that was how I grew it. But what I realized is that the moving forward that people want to feel like they're going somewhere. So you'll see people making videos a lot of times of their accessories looking down on a table or something. And most of the time those don't do that great. But that's when I realized moving forward, using trending audio is really important. If you don't use trending audio, it doesn't do that well. So I have learned a lot of tricks and I continue to learn because Instagram is changing every single day they're changing something. So I really study it. I listen to the CEO to see what he's bringing in new. I go to his Instagram to see what's happening. So research, try stuff. Go on stories. So stories are really blowing up right now for me, probably just as much as reels. So seeing tons of new followers on just my stories. So I don't know why, but
There you go. You know it all. No, but you don't. But again, you don't just do Instagram. You still have the school you run. You still have the
yeah.
school,
No,
the
yeah.
school magazine. How has what you've learned in that digital space? How has it morphed these other aspects? Because again, now and then you have the book too.
Yeah.
How is what you've taken? How do you apply to all these other things?
Well, my primary focus is the schools. That is my primary goal, and my work is the schools. So managing my staff, I have an incredibly great team. I'm now just managing a team of executive directors. I'm not managing all the teachers and all the things I used to do. So that's running really well, but that's really my day job. And then I've always wanted to write a book, and I started taking photos and learning photography and videography during the pandemic. So I had just a myriad of photos, and I wanted to do something with it. So now I'm writing a book. I'm almost done. I'm on the third revision.
Okay.
But I don't want to just do one thing either, Brandon. I can't just do the school. I can't just do the Instagram. I'm just always growing, learning, and now I've moved into magazine and that kind of design, and I love it. So that's really what I see as our marketing. So like I said, I'm the creative director now, and I'm kind of like a one man show too. I think you said that, like, you're a whole agency.
Yeah. I think have you heard of that podcast More Than One Thing?
No.
Okay, so there's this lady on social media. She's amazing too, and her name is Ice Wound. I don't know, you might have familiar heard of her, but she does different collaborations. But anyway, she had a podcast called More Than One Thing. And when you said that, that made me think of you because literally you do more than one thing. But I think I read your goal is to inspire others to tell their stories and empower them to live the life of your dreams. And I think that's a requirement of why you have to do so many things because you have this school, but that's just one aspect. That's just one itch. Then you
Yeah.
have the design, the shelter, where you're showing people how to design their homes and how to be homely. Then you have the books. I feel like you have to do one thing just to get everything out that you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah. It's very accurate. Like, I'm doing all the things that I love. Like, I'm super fulfilled in my career. Like, I get to wake up every day and love what I do. Every day. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, totally, totally. With all the things you have going on, what all is next? You mentioned the book, you mentioned more schools, you mentioned more creative direction, you have collabs. What can we expect in the next 3 to 6 months? I won't even ask you the next 3 to 6 years because who knows what that's going to be like. But what
That's
can we expect in the
retirement.
next? Oh, I don't think you would ever retire. I don't think
No,
you could do it. I don't think you would do
no.
it. But what is next? Can you tell us more about the book? Can you tell us more about other things that are coming down the road?
Yeah, so I am in the process of creating my book called Heritage Spaces, and it's a creative guide to creating heritage spaces, and it's turning out beautiful, I think. This will be my second book, and then I also want to do holiday and home decor and kind of a recipe book. So I've actually started on two books right now. I'm working on two books,
Of course.
because some things don't fit into this book. It'll fit into that book. So I'll have two books coming out fairly soon, one right after another. At least that's my goal. I don't know. I mean, this is just what I'm working towards. Um, so the books, and then the expansion of the schools, and I'm going to stay on social media, and I'm going to do more collabs. I really do want more time for collabs. So, like, once you get to a certain point, like where my growth is, you can collab with any company.
Yeah.
I get pretty much at least 5 times a day get asked to be, and I have no time for collaboration. So I'll pick one thing that I love and I'll work with them. But I'd love to work with more companies. It's so much fun to work, collaboratively and work with their products that I'm proud of.
Do
So
you think
that's what
do you
I
think
like to do.
do you think you would ever do a collection collaboration?
Yeah, I think I'll do a collection collaboration. I would like to build out my own products. I would like to have time to build out my own products. I have the LTK. I mean, I have the platform to do it, Brandon, but I just don't have the time to do what I want to do. So that's an area that I would love to develop more.
Well, I can't wait. You're an inspiration. I love the book, the original book. I want to read the second book when it comes out, and the third book. I probably won't cook, but I'll at least get the heritage
You won't
style
make you won't
and
make the
embrace
cakes
that.
that I recommend. You won't do one of those holiday cakes
You know,
decorated.
I won't do it, but I know someone that can. I'll have someone else. I'll give it to them. That would be a great holiday gift.
Yeah, give it for
Um,
a gift.
exactly. But again, I can't wait to see everything you're going on. Kudos. I'm so happy for all your success, and
Thank you.
I just can't wait to be a fan and see more.
Thank you, Brandon.
You have to let
You,
us know when the book. You have to let us know when the book is out.
I will, and you inspire me as well.
I appreciate it. Well, again, thank you. I know they're going to learn so much. We're going to have a whole bunch of questions, but we'll probably bring you back after the book and do a follow up. But again, thank you for taking your time. And yeah, until next time.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye bye.